Hey folks, Wilfie here. Woo, there's the train gates. I might actually get to see one today. Although, this might be the false alarm. Anyway, I babble. So as the title of this video might suggest, I have a tale of woe and stupidity of galactic proportions. No, yep, the train's one station down. I don't get to see it today. That's the train that runs once an hour through downtown Orlando that practically nobody rides and only runs on weekdays. Anyway, if you recall, a few years ago, as people who used to watch the channel remember, I briefly tinkered around with the idea of building an application to handle bulk uploads to YouTube. You just run this program, you sign in to your Google account or whatever, you feed it a pile of videos, you give it a title, template, and use your basic settings, and poof, it would upload them for you, all convenient like, and set all the different attributes, handle auto numbering, and all that fun stuff. The only thing you couldn't do with the YouTube APIs is enable monetization. And if anyone who's published videos on YouTube really in the past 2 or 3 years understands why. They have an increasingly obtrusive questionnaire you have to fill out whenever you want to turn on monetization for a video. You basically have to swear on your left nut that nothing in your content is offensive to advertisers. And since that's such a moving target, pretty much everybody just clicks through it. And naturally, that gives them an excuse to just yeet you in the moment you offend them. So I suppose posting a video entitled "YouTube is run by idiots" is probably not the best way to ingratiate myself with them, but I don't really care. To get back on the subject of that program, you remember I did a live stream for a few hours where I started laying the groundwork to get it put together. Set up my build environment, got Qt running, or Qt, I suppose it's called, and I got the basic Windows set up and started building a list widget. If memory serves, I was spending a bit of time fighting that, because Qt doesn't have built-in facilities to do custom rendering of list items if they don't follow the standard style that they define for you. So I had to write basically a what do they call it? A rasterizer? Not something like that, but using low-level primitives to render the contents of the widgets directly. So that was where it left off. Well, I haven't messed with it for a couple of years. Not even until now. I still haven't messed with it, and I'm not going to, unfortunately, that project is dead, and I'm not going to bother trying to pursue it, and I'll explain why. This started a couple of months ago, and the reason I decided to make this video is that they emailed again today about this. So a few months back, I get an email from YouTube saying that they're going through a periodic audit of accounts with API usage access. In other words, developer accounts that have applied for and been granted access to the YouTube APIs, specifically the YouTube Data API version 3. And this is the interface, the publicly available interface that they let you use when you want to do things like search for a channel, fetch a list of videos belonging to a channel, searching by tag, or getting details on a specific video. It's all available. It's all free to access. To use it, you have to register an account with Google, which, whatever. And you register a project, like an app or a program on your desktop or a phone app or a website, whatever. You describe to them what you're going to be doing, what your planned usage is, and they review your application and they say yes or no. And if they say yes, you get an API access key and a secret key. or token or whatever. And those two little random bits of text get shoved into every request that you send to the APIs, and they authenticate it. And so, boom, the API says, okay, I'll talk to you and I'll answer your question. They set limits on the number of times you can make any given API call, and they also keep a total count of how many calls you've made to any of the API functions, and there's an upper limit on that too. Now, when I applied to gain access to this stuff when I was starting the project, I didn't ask for a specific number. I said, hey, this is just an idea. I'm brainstorming. Hell, I'm probably only going to be calling this thing by hand a few times in the span of a week, just to get my bearings and how things work. And they approved the request and said, okay, we'll give you 100,000 API requests per month. Way more than I needed. Perfect. That meant I could fart around, test things, and not worry about hitting some stupid little limit. No problem. Well, they left it alone for years. And then a couple of months ago, they wrote an email saying, hey, we're doing a periodic audit of projects that are registered to use the APIs, and we need you to verify that you're still using the project, and we need more details about what you're doing. So this is just a formality. No worries. Fill out this form. Make sure you mention that you were selected for a random audit, and you should be fine. Don't worry about it. Also, we've lowered your API request limit to 10,000 until you respond. Okay, no biggie. So I clicked the button and I filled in the link. Now the form asked all sorts of, I suppose, reasonable questions. Stuff like, what is your program called? What does it do? What sort of API access is it going to use? What kind of calls is it going to make? How many users do you have? What's the website? And stuff like that. Oh, and finally there was a mandatory, all of these questions are mandatory. You have to answer them. And at the very end was a mandatory attachment. You had to attach a document providing, screenshots or designs, the little drawn out UI mock-ups and that sort of thing, illustrating your program in action or showing screenshots of it actually in use. And that's not optional. You have to furnish it. So I answered this form by saying, guys, I haven't written much code. I'm not even using the APIs yet. It's just an idea I've had in my head for a while, and I'm gonna, been dorking around with it here and there, and I might get back to it, I might not. And to satisfy that the attachment box, I uploaded a text file that said exactly the same things. Like, there's nothing to show. I don't have mock-ups. I don't have screenshots. There's no working program. And so I hit submit, and whatever. I figured, I'm over it. If they kill it, whatever. Didn't hear back. Now, about a week later, I did finally hear back. And their email thanked me for submitting the form. Now, the interesting thing is, from the very beginning, it was clear that I was dealing with an idiot. And part of it was because of the composition of the form letter I got back. For one thing, even though they have a checkbox for I was chosen for an audit, the email response the follow-up started, thank you for applying for a quota increase on blah, 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 which is not what I did. I replied, submitted a form for an audit. Did not request an increase. But anyway, then it said, to review your application, we need the following information from you, blah, blah, blah. And it repeated the same thing. We need to see design documents, graphs or pictures, screenshots, mock-ups, and that sort of thing, and a better detailed description of what your program does or what your app does. So I kind of blinked, I took a deep breath, exhaled, and I wrote back with a very polite response saying, hey, thanks for getting back to me. I appreciate your follow-up. As I said in the form, in the application I submitted, there is no application right now. There's no program. There's no code that actually talks to YouTube. I don't have any mock-ups or UI design ideas or anything of the sort. There's no screenshots because there's no functioning program. It's just an idea, and I wanted access to the APIs to exercise them, see how they responded with real queries, real data. In other words, just to query my own damned account and see what's on my channel and see how the API responds to this and that. And I hit send. I was very polite. Nothing happened. And then about a week later, another email came back. Again, thank you for submitting your application for blah, 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 blah. And they replied to the previous email. This was not like they were hitting send on a brand new form letter. What? Shut up. Be quiet, car. Apparently I got an email. So they replied to the email chain with another form letter, and they just repeated themselves. We need to see a working example of your app. Includes screenshots, design documents, and UI mock-ups. And I wrote them back again, this time a little bit less politely, say, guys, I don't know what I can give you. I don't have anything. It's an idea in my head. It's something I'm thinking about doing. I don't have any mock-ups. I don't know what else to tell you. And I hit send. And a week later, again, I got another email from this, presumably it's a team of idiots. I'm not sure that it's the same idiot, because it was the same. No, not the same. It was differently broken English. So it's a multitude of different, shall we say, H-1B visa holders providing this service to me. But in a different variant of broken English, again, they just repeated the same thing. You know, we need to see design documents and screenshots and blah, 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 blah. So I finally just fed up and replied, look, I'm obviously talking to a robot. I'm tired of dealing with you. Just set the quotas to 0 and be done with it. I'm tired of this. And I hit send. A week later, I get a different kind of automated response, or I'm assuming it's all automated. I get another email from YouTube, this time saying, based on information you've submitted, we're not able to approve your quota increase request at this time. It's going to remain set to 10,000 as per your previous request. In other words, they didn't do anything. And they left the access enabled. And also ignored the fact that I said turn it off. So it's still on, and last I checked, I can still access the APIs. But it gets better. A week ago, they kind of went quiet for a couple of weeks. But then last week, I get an email, and it's the same goddamn email that started it all. That started the whole thing. We're conducting a periodic audit of different accounts that have access to the YouTube APIs. You've been selected. Please click here and submit the form. It should only take a few minutes, and this is mostly a formality. Thank you for your cooperation. I ignored it because I don't care anymore. I'm tired of YouTube, of any kind of interactions with it. I'm just going to upload stuff, reply to comments I get on my stuff, and that's the end of it. I don't care. I'm over it. Well, then comes today's email. And this is what prompted me to post this video and tell this fun story. Hi there. We're conducting a periodic audit of certain accounts with access to the YouTube APIs. We previously contacted you a week ago, and because you haven't responded, we're reducing your API quotas from 100,000 down to 90,000 until you respond to this form. Please click here, and it'll only take a few minutes. So, my initial quota was 10,000. And I misspoke at the very beginning. They didn't give me 100,000, they gave me 10,000. And that's what my initial quota was. And as punishment for not cooperating, or for apparently giving them everything they asked for and being fully cooperative, they reduced my API query limit from 10,000 down to 10,000, per my request to set it to 0. And then they wanted to do the whole thing again, and my punishment for ignoring them is having my quota decreased from 10,000 down to 90,000. Am I drunk? Is the world drunk? Or is this batch of idiots at YouTube some of the biggest retards on this planet? This isn't even an institutional failure. This isn't even something that their automated stupidity inflicts upon people. This required not just inaction by 3 or 4 idiots. It required deliberate action, deliberately doing the wrong thing, in completely ignoring the inputs they were being fed and regurgitating the wrong outputs. And it's not like these people can claim they weren't reading my responses, because they were acting like they did. Per your previous request, we've reduced your quota, as requested. Except I didn't request a reduction to some number. I requested them setting it down to 0. Turn it off. And it's just baffling. They're retards. They're 100% retards. And it baffles me that anybody puts up with this. I've never seen an organization put so much energy into making its users absolutely hate it. I'm aware that because I'm posting stuff to YouTube that I am the product and not the actual customer. I get that. But they're doing all sorts of things to make it really unappealing to interact with the service. I'm not a good product if I'm not touching the damn thing. But they're doing everything they can to discourage people like me from even bothering. And I get that they may not want people to write software that competes with their studio experience, because I guess pain and suffering is something they really want to inflict on their users. Because the studio UI is terrible. It's slow, it's inefficient, and I mean slow, like it takes seconds for it to respond to things. It takes seconds for the page to load. Transitioning from one panel to another takes seconds. It's not an instant response. Nothing is fast. But beyond that, it's also, vacant of useful features and so-called quality of life touches. It's like some idiot who hates people designed the damn thing. Or more accurately, designed by committee, and nobody competent with any kind of authority stood up and said, hey, this looks fancy and all, but it also completely sucks. Whatever, they did it anyway. But, so they're actively censoring people left and right. They're making it harder and harder to actually post stuff, like upload videos. I refuse to call it content, because screw you. But they're making it harder for people who upload things. They're making it miserable for anybody that wants to programmatically interact with this stupid site. And I don't know, man, maybe if you've got $1 million and you have an account rep at Google, maybe there's some super secret, this API doesn't suck ass API that you have access to. And maybe it's just us plebs that don't get access to anything useful, but god damn. They go out of their way to make people just miserable. And I guess it's because they figure they're the only game in town. And that it's already not even technically true. There are people getting sick to death of YouTube and Twitch and Twitter banning people for saying the wrong things. And there are competitors coming up out of the woodwork here. They're taking it slower. They're not making proclamations that, oh yeah, we're going to take down Twitch. We're going to take down YouTube. They're just doing it. They're not bragging. They're improving their service. And obviously, this video is not going to change anyone's mind, and there's no mass exodus from YouTube in the coming weeks, months, or probably even a few years. But something is going to replace it eventually. And a big part of it is going to be just a better user experience. Front and back. It takes plugins galore in a browser to make YouTube less obnoxious, and even with ad blockers and YouTube-specific extensions and plugins, and through TamperMonkey and through the Chrome Web Extension Store, YouTube is still an obnoxious experience just for a viewer. It pops up, try our random paid shit for 30 days free, try it now. And the only options in classic marketing style, your only selections are, not now, tee and okay, let's go. They pop up ads, they pop up obnoxious crap in your so-called feed when you do a search for something. The first 2 results are relevant, hopefully, to your search. The next 3 are stuff like for you, and you can't make it go away, you can't hide it. Then people who searched for this, for your search terms, also watched this, and it's all unrelated crap. So, like everything else related to Google, all their search products are turning to garbage. YouTube is an ad-laden nightmare dystopia for users. Their controversial algorithm shoves their preferred stuff in your face no matter what, and buries unapproved messages or things that are not ad-friendly because they don't make money serving up videos that don't make that money. And then on the back end, uploading videos to their site is a pain in the ass. And trying to do it programmatically is an even bigger pain in the ass. So, from every angle, YouTube is an obnoxious piece of crap. So, fingers crossed something will come along and kill it. Something that, has built-in functional bulk editing features that are actually intelligent and not just make these same changes to all selected videos. There's nuance to that experience that could be improved. And also, it shouldn't take you 2 minutes between clicking go and the little spinner finishing going, oh yeah, I'm done. Those kinds of changes should take effect instantly. But it doesn't. Again, YouTube's garbage. And the people behind the scenes running it are idiots too. Their customer support, if you want to call it that, is tragically bad. You could almost say Comcast has better customer service people than YouTube does, and that's saying something. So anyway, that's my rant. Wow, traffic's terrible. I'm still like 5 minutes from home. Been babbling for almost 25 minutes on this video. Sorry I didn't live stream last weekend, by the way. Still dealing with back pain and just got tired. Hoping to fix that here in this coming week when I get back to some X4 Foundations, Kingdom End. And I also want to play Atomic Heart, because that's a fun game, and I need to share that with the world. Because it was a flash in the pan. It launched. It offended a lot of Ukrainians because I'm supposed to care for some reason. And then the gaming journo scum complained about it a lot, and then people quit talking about it. So I want to go play it and remind people that it's actually a really damn good game. And yeah, so we'll be doing some more of that this weekend, I'm pretty sure. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening to my idiot ramblings. And if you get a chance to say hi to someone who works at YouTube, please give them a middle finger for me. Take it easy, guys. I'll catch you later.